I'm your host, Mr. MegaManFan, and today on Genesis Does, we're looking at another Japanese exclusive game that I will never own, you will never own, and we should all just become okay with that. This is Undead Line, and the epic amount of screen scroll at the beginning might make you think this is an RPG, but you'd be mistaken. It's a shoot 'em up game. It came out in 1989 for MSX, and then was ported to the Sharp X68000 in 1990 and to Mega Drive in 1991. That port was done by Palsoft, who never saw fit to localize it for the United States, although a fan translation was done circa 2007. So if you really wanted to patch in an English language scroll for the beginning of this game, you certainly could, but being that it's a shoot 'em up, I don't think it's really that necessary. All it's telling you here is the basic gameplay story, which for a shoot 'em up is almost always inconsequential, but I'll tell you what it is anyway. This comes courtesy of SegaRetro.org. In the beginning, the world was inhabited by gods and giants who fought over which race would rule. To win, the giants created 4 living weapons, who were so fearsome and effective, both sides lost. The day of the monster's creation would come to be called Ragnarok. Ages later, Count Brazen, a leader of demons, invaded the Gitani kingdom, who were unable to defend themselves solely by tactical decisions made by their king, Fahrenheit II, only to discover Count Brazen is seeking the spirit of Roshufa in order to revive one of the 4 legendary monsters. You are Leon, a fighter chosen by the king to obtain the spirit before Count Brazen does. Maybe it should be brazen, because this game is brazen in its difficulty. Look at the way these monsters just swarm at you from the top of the screen, and look how slowly Leon moves. You barely have time to react before they're on you. Now, there are treasure chests which contain power-ups to increase your projectiles, add a second option that mimics you, change your weapons, and if you shoot the treasure chest once it's open, the weapon changes from one to the next, much like Twinbee. So you can juggle which weapon you want, so to speak. But it doesn't help a whole lot, because it is just bullet hell squared here without bullets flying at you. It's just the monsters themselves that are moving so fast you barely have time to react. What's curious is that Sega Retro claims the C button does nothing. They're almost right. The C button causes Leon to brandish a shield, and if you have very quick reflexes, you can hit the shield right as something is about to hit you and kill it, but then you're going to be taking your finger off the fire button to do that, which means you're vulnerable to something else that's attacking you. So it's kind of a lose-lose proposition. You can stop firing to brandish your shield, but you might get hit. Or you can brandish your shield and stop firing to survive 1 second longer and die anyway. So, in the end, the only ways that I could make any progress in this game were to go into the options menu and set the difficulty to easy. It's got easy, normal, and crazy. I cannot imagine playing this game on crazy. And you have to select Rensha and turn it on, because Rensha is apparently the word for auto fire in the realm of Undead Line. Now, I did mention you will never own this game and I will never own this game. So let me tell you what it currently fetches as of the recording of this video. There was an auction up with 6 bids on it and 3 days left, and as I was recording, it was going for $112.50. So it was inevitably going to go for more than that, especially since the seller included it complete in box with manual and a receipt proving that it was an original copy. That's important, because Undead Line, like a lot of Japan exclusive Mega Drive region games, gets lots of bootleg fake copies. If you buy one from China, you can get it for as low as $7 with $3 shipping. But you're certainly not getting an original copy of Undead Line at that price. If you don't want to make it a bidding war trying to get one and just want to buy it outright, your buy it now is going to be at best $250. And it might not even be a complete copy at that price. If you want a complete inbox copy, probably going to get more like $270, $290, $299.99 for a complete version of this game. That's what happens when you have a Japan exclusive Mega Drive game that's a shoot 'em up, because suddenly everybody wants it. Literally. Everybody wants it. Da-da, da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. So do yourself a favor. If you have emulation on your PC or MacBook, this is absolutely one of those try before you buy scenarios. Or do it on your analog Mega SG. Just jailbreak it, put a memory card in there, and give it a whirl, because if you're paying $300 without having tried this first, woe betide to you who doesn't realize they are probably not playing this game for very long. I'm not saying you couldn't perfect your technique. You could memorize the waves. You could get good at using the shield and alternating it with the fire weapon. You've even got an option that stays with you until you die if you hit the A button that provides a shield that circles around you. Of course, because it circles around you, it doesn't always hit what you want it to, so it's not as good as a shield that gives you an extra hit on your hitbox. It kind of helps, and it kind of doesn't. It's basically better than nothing. But so is setting this game to easy and turning on auto fire, because then you at least stand a small chance in hell of making some progress. When I did that, I was actually able to get to a mid-stage boss in this cavern. That is one thing I will say positively for Undead Line, since I've been talking about how brutally hard it is. At least it gives you 6 different stages to choose from at the very start. So you don't have to play whichever one you think is the hardest first. You can pick and choose which order you want to go in. This Dracula-looking fellow here is only vulnerable when his cape is open. And if you shoot his projectiles when he's launching them and then attack him while his cape is still open, you stand a pretty good chance of beating him. But sometimes if you're attacking his homing projectiles before you attack him, his cape closes and you lose his opportunity to be shot. So you kind of have to balance between protecting yourself from the heat-seeking projectiles coming toward Leon, or getting in some damage and then hitting them, hopefully before they hit you. It's not the most difficult boss battle, and it's a mid-boss battle, so it probably shouldn't be, but it does suggest to me that there's some value in learning to get better at this shoot-'em-up. I can't completely write it off. I can write it off because of the cost, mind you. It's like, no, I ain't paying $300 for a complete box copy of this game. Are you kidding me? That's not gonna happen. But in emulation, I can see myself spending a little more time with this game, maybe getting good enough at the easy difficulty that I go back to the normal difficulty. It's certainly not the worst shoot 'em up ever. It's got some basic appeal in terms of graphics and sound design. It's got a steep learning curve, but one I think you can overcome if you practice. But I can be honest with you and say that when I died right before collecting this one up, I decided I was done. As always, thank you for watching. See you next Thursday for a new episode of Genesis Does. Genesis